Good morning, Vietnam. Good morning, Croydon. We are just in Croydon, and those are the curly cooks of Croydon. There's one, and there's the other. Just ahead, you won't even want to know what's going on around that corner.
No, don't.
I'm not. I haven't said anything. Good morning, everyone. Sean Tucker, Della Nixon, Kyle Mitchell, Jenny Scam, Margaret O'Brien, Becky Fithy, and Sarah Withington, Danielle Blake Smith. How are we all? Just for a minute here, I've kind of forgotten what I'm supposed to do with this StreamYard thing. So if you haven't, subscribe every Saturday. Hi, Russ. Thanks for insisting I changed my shirt yesterday. Michelle put on the thumb. Michelle does her thumbnails, and there was an image of me with my ridiculous hat and shirt on. And thank God I took it off. I look like an absolute twat. Check out yesterday's Coffee Moaning if you don't know what I mean. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed, do hit the notification bell, hit the bell and put always. I think you get 3 choices and you will always know when we go live with something or other. Good morning, Erin Bullymore. Hope you're well. Lynn Sheard, April Hill, and the gang. It's so nice to have you here. Danielle Blake Smith, turn it down. God, as if we don't hear Nadia enough. Okay, guys. We're going to go run through the news. Obviously, I've run through some of the sort of more serious stories, which are in the papers, but we don't spend long on them. It's just so that you've got a grab on what's going on in all the papers, so you don't have to buy them. So let's have a look at this. This is a horrendous story. It's been a horrendous story developing, well, really for the last 54 days. This is the Constance Martin aristocrat story. And her sex offender partner who went missing. Obviously, they sadly, tragically found the girl's remains, the baby's remains, covered by nappies in a bag in a shed. Just hideous. Whilst they were in court, they blew kisses to each other. There's something deeply wrong with this pair. Constance Martin blew a kiss to her partner in court yesterday as it was revealed her dead baby was found, as I say, in a plastic bag. They were charged with gross negligence, manslaughter, concealing the birth of a child, and perverting the course of justice. Vile, blowing a kiss. And we have another story in a minute about someone else who was found guilty of another crime, who I think danced and sang outside the court, which is just horrendous. You've probably heard so much about Boris Johnson, Partygate and WhatsApp, and we're all kind of going, oh, for fuck's sake, guys, we've been here before. We don't want to go there again. But I just thought it's interesting to show you I didn't realise the Daily Star was owned by the Mirror. I thought it was owned by the guy who owned the Daily Express. Anyway, I just want to show you the front of the Daily Mail, says this: Boris, not a shred of evidence. I misled MPs. Reports of Partygate rule breaches would have been obvious, says ex-PM. And he insists they found no proof and that he's been vindicated. What do you think, guys? Has he been vindicated? He's just saying he didn't really think that anything was wrong. But that's bollocks. Heck, none of us can crawl into a set. I mean, he's obviously been told to say that by lawyers, hasn't he? Absolutely ridiculous. But if you go to the front of the Daily Star, and I hope some of you find the Daily Star as much of a guilty pleasure as I do, because I really do. Definitely not, says Jenny Scam. The Daily Star says Pinocchio is a fibber. And look at the length of Boris Johnson's nose. It looks like a chipolata. Rule breaking at number 10 during lockdown would have been obvious to the expert. I mean, this is ludicrous, isn't it? We've been shooting down party balloons over America, and now we're going, you said, I said, he said, we said. I mean, these people are ridiculous. And he may have misled Parliament 4 times. The Daily Star calls him Bozo, Pinocchio, Johnson. I just love the way the Daily Star always find a food analogy, whether it be a lettuce, a turnip, or whatever. I just want to jump this story because we've been watching Matt Hancock, haven't we, in the press? And Matt Hancock as I understand it, he gave loads of WhatsApps to this journalist at the Daily Telegraph, I think she signed a non-disclosure agreement, but then said in the public interest, I'm going to publish them. So she published them. So Matt Hancock is angry. He sent threatening texts, allegedly, according to the journalist. He says he didn't. But I just want to share with you some of the other texts that came out from this strange little man. Check this out. Matt Hancock shared a text that said COVID could propel his career into the next league. Matt Hancock shared advice on how COVID could propel his career, quote, into the next league. He forwarded a WhatsApp from an unnamed wise friend that said this, quote, a well-handled crisis of this scale could propel you into the next league and break you through in terms of public perception.
Do you know what?
I think exactly the same was said of I'm a Celebrity.
Do you know what?
What?
And this is controversial.
Oh!
And you know I can't stand Matt Hancock.
Yeah.
You've got to understand that it's a career.
Yeah.
And that's true. If you handle anything as a politician, and people see you to have done that well, it's going to improve your career. It doesn't mean, oh goody, we've got a pandemic, this is great for my career. Do you know what I mean?
I disagree. If he knew what was coming our way, it shows a complete inability to understand the potential consequences of what was coming. I think you're right in many circumstances, but not in this one.
Well, no, it's not that I'm saying I'm right. I'm just saying thinking of the other way, because we do all run, don't we, to just say.
Well, what do you think? What do you think of this one? Mr. Hancock also sent WhatsApps praising his own appearance in the Mail Online,
well,
which hang on, I haven't finished. Which showed him covered in mud while carrying a rugby ball through a London park. Apparently, he liked that. I also actually saw him bizarrely on This Morning, looking really cock-a-hoot that he was going to be dramatised in a drama by the actor, interestingly, who's left his wife for the other lead actress in Better. So this story, that's the Matt Hancock story. Self-absorbed, says Miss Sadie C. Jan, some of these politicians are on another planet. You're absolutely right. I understand what Nadia's saying, but I think it's very insensitive, says Sean Tucker. But, Laurel, hot deal with Dulux. Oh, I see. Saw that on TV about Hancock. Yeah, no, it's outrageous, isn't it? Had enough of Hancock. Hancock's had his half hour, hasn't he? Right, this story I think is really important. Has Glastonbury cancelled John Peel? I can't help but feel by asking it like that, the Daily Mail is, in a sense, saying cancelling certain people is wrong. I think this is a situation in which John Peel absolutely needs to be cancelled. One of the stages at Glastonbury was called the Peel stage, and they've dropped it. I was digging into yesterday some of the things that he said, because of course there's the suggestion or the sexual abuse claims against him. He was quoted in a fair few articles. I was trying to find it. He said something. Oh, here we go. He said in an interview with the Sunday Correspondent in '89, and he allegedly got a 13 or 14-year-old girl pregnant many years ago. He talked about groupies queuing up, wanting to be abused. John Peel was a BBC One radio DJ who was actually really, really, parking the sexual abuse claims to the side, critical in breaking and bringing to the public huge musical acts, a highly respected curator, if you like, and supporter of new bands, big bands. He used to do something called the John Peel Sessions. I've got records in there, which I'm going to go in and I'm going to melt. He said things like, girls used to queue up. Where is it here? Girls used to queue up at concerts. One of my regular customers turned out to be 13. Regular customers. He said a lot of them didn't want to have sex. All they wanted me to do was abuse them sexually, which of course I was only too happy to do. I mean, that's almost more. These are all quotes in music magazines. He talked about the fact that other girls were queuing up not to have sex, but to give blowjobs. And of course, I was willing to partake. What do you want me to do? He said. I mean, the thing about this is that there's no shred. These are his own words. And I feel I feel like because John Peel did something qualitative and Jimmy Savile, who's the most evil scumbag, this is kind of considered less in a weird way. Obviously, lots of people are saying it was a different era, but it doesn't change his mindset, does it? Apparently, he used to have a section or a slot on his radio program called Schoolgirls of the Week.
Oh my God.
I mean, how much more obvious does it get? Quoted. I mean, I don't even think Jimmy Savile was quoted in a paper, was he?
Well, he said
Oh, so bloody hell, Steph Schultz. Yeah, so for me, that is it. Finally, Emily Evis, obviously the daughter of the guy who used to run Glastonbury, is changing the name of the stage. And also, the Glastonbury is in the press because the headliners this year are pretty much all male. Well, they are all male. And Emily Evis has blamed this. This is bizarre, Nadia. Get this. Blamed all male headliners on a shortage of women.
Shortage of what?
Shortage of women singers? Are you joking? Almost every singer I see is a woman.
We've got one.
Yeah, we have got one. What do you think of that, guys? Were any of you John Peel fans? I was shocked by the quotes and how it wasn't a bigger news story actually when at the time.
Wow,
Nicola Randall, it's the right thing to do to rename the stage. Absolutely. Happy birthday, Myra. Happy birthday. Glad I didn't get a ticket, says Michelle S. Whew. And then another story about just awfulness is this chap, reality star Stephen Bear, who was jailed for 21 months yesterday for sharing a video of him having sex with his former partner. Revenge porn, essentially. But again, we live in a time of barbarism. He danced and sang as he went in. And as he went down, he said to the judge, "Hope you have a good day."
Oh, that's what you like.
Hope you have a good day. Oh my God, what's the world
and
coming
then
to?
you've got that woman getting 3 years yesterday.
And then, yeah, exactly. You've got the woman getting 3 years for shouting at the cyclist. Though, again, we don't know the finer details of that. Just pass through this quickly. A lot of anger in London on the radio yesterday as Sadiq Khan equated anyone being get this, guys. Sadiq Khan said anyone who's in opposition to ULEZ, the new are COVID deniers, the far right. And who else did he say? He said, let's be frank, some of those are part of the far right, COVID deniers, vaccine deniers, and Tories. I think he likened them to being Nazis. Anyone who was in opposition to ULEZ, I don't know how you pronounce it. What about everyone who just can't afford it? Yeah, can't stand Stephen Bear. Stop the world and want to get off, says Jackie Valino. Stephen Bear, Faith Goodman is disgusting. He was taking selfies outside court yesterday with fans, like it was a red carpet. Oh, I don't think he's okay. Apparently, they talked about his ADHD and said that was I mean, God, how many people have ADHD and don't do what he does? What a tosser. So I have to say, I don't agree with Sadiq Khan. I think he made a mistake there. Listen to the recordings as he said it. I've never heard so much screaming and shouting from the opposition. I think there need to be more female singers who sing and wear clothes, says Bev Berry. That's interesting. Jenny Scam, Bear was a knob on Big Brother, should get longer. Sadiq Khan, a fool. Sadiq Khan needs to go, says JJX and Emma Atkins, utterly useless. Ellery Jones, arrogant twat. I don't know which one you're talking about there. Could be either. They issued the first-class stamp of Prince Charles yesterday, and they also told us it's going to cost £1.10. £1.10 for a first-class stamp. That's quite a lot, isn't it? The East End boy, I've got ADHD and wouldn't dare do what he did. Can't be used as an excuse. I know it gives people with ADHD a bad name, doesn't it? First-class stamps cost £1.10 from April, and the first image of the official stamp has been released. He doesn't have a crown on. He hasn't been afraid for them to give an honest representation of his sort of ears. He's often been kind of caricatured on that. I think my recommendation to all of you, if you can afford it, is this is going to be these. I don't know if you're a stamp collector, but I think this could end up being worth something if you could get a first book of 4 or 8 or something like that. I think it might be worth the investment. You never know; it might become a little heirloom. for your kids when you're older. But £1.10. I remember when they were like 12p. Do you? I have the same lugs, says Bad Bod. Jenny Scam, the postage is more expensive than a card. Yeah, didn't someone once send a stamp with a letter on the back of it? I seem to remember that. It's kind of silly. This was a story. I can't remember if we mentioned this yesterday, but I sent this story to Dina because she's always frightening us with terrible stories around health. This is the story of. This is incredibly rare, by the way. Man dies from waterborne brain-eating amoeba. A man in Florida died from a brain-eating amoeba that health authorities said may have entered his nose when he rinsed it with tap water. When they say rinse, I think they mean almost like doing an enema of the nose. So don't worry if you do any. Well, I don't know. Why would you sniff tap water anyway? Why would you sniff tap water?
Some people just get obsessed with washing out their nose.
Do they?
Dad loves it.
Oh, Teddy does it. Do any of you wash out your nose with water? Anyway, so yeah, this very rare disease called Naegleria fowleri, a single-celled amoeba, it goes up to the brain and eats it through the nose. Oh, God. Tell you what, I heard Fergal Sharkey on the radio yesterday. Do you remember him? Talking about the fact that London is rapidly running out of drinking water. Apparently we're the 9th highest in the world, just behind Mexico City. Who hates potholes? Any drivers here? The pothole quick fix that lasts for just weeks. Our road has thousands. Councils have been accused of failing to repair. A manager of JCB construction giant says it's because they have a fix which is called throw and go. They just chuck it on and then in 2 weeks it comes off. The amount of burst tyres I've got. Steph Schultz, I bought a sinus rinse kit. Really? Had special powder to put in the water. Who did say? Mo Power. Good luck. The amoeba finding my brain. I've got potholes in my brain. Something sweet, something savoury. You can get saline rinse from the pharmacy. Leslie Sargent only picks her nose. I love our conversations. I love the way we pivot from Sadiq Khan and Boris Johnson to flushing your nostrils out. Oh, who's had enough of Piers Morgan? Oh, you're milking bike crash, Dan. This is the story of Dan Walker. He was involved in a bike crash. Piers Morgan, unable to not comment on everything. Listen to this, Nads. Piers Morgan has accused Dan Walker of milking his bike crash.
Oh, lovely Dan Walker.
Like it was a terror attack. Oh, God. What did he say? Piers said, if I'd been kicked off Match of the Day, then washed up on Channel 5 daytime and only got pressed by falling off a bike and milking it like I'd survived a terror attack, I'd be this bitter too.
Oh my God! Why would you be that nasty?
Isn't it just sanctioned trolling?
I understand it.
We talked about the story of a bizarre sort of thong-like show in front of kids. Drag is new front in culture wars. I do think this is an opportunity for the sort of, I don't know, puritanical right wing just to kind of get hot under the collar. But there's a 300% rise in school, library and church acts involving drag queens and drag shows. The Reverend Ian Paul, who's a member of the General Synod, said it's inappropriate. People may say you're a reactionary, but I think most ordinary people think this is really bad. I would call it the hideous sexualization of culture and sexualization of children. This shouldn't be shown to primary children. Drag is fun. I remember filming in but it's a debate, isn't it? Dina, if a drag show had come to your school, would you have been all right with that? Do you think it's wise? Yeah, does it look fun? Is it more like, it's very camp. I mean, I think people get the idea that...
What's the learning objective is going to be for me?
What's the learning objective?
There's always, unfortunately in schools, everything's got to have a learning objective.
Right, what's the learning objective, Guy?
I think children learn something from everything that happens. So.
Not in the primary school, maybe secondary school. I just don't, you've got to gauge timings.
Yeah.
I
think so.
To put put too much on young children there's too much out
Too
there
much
for
is
them.
being put on children. I think I kind of agree. I think maybe it's not okay. Someone's just mentioned pantomime, which is a really good point. Kids can cope with drag in pantomime, and drag is a major part of pantomime, but it's about context, isn't it? So if you've got funny people being funny in drag, I don't think it's a problem.
I don't think it's a problem.
I don't think it's a problem at all. But I think Abby Reid, they're learning about LGBT acceptance. I think that is indeed a learning objective. I think any sexualized sort of debate or content for children under a certain age, I think has to be seriously considered. Bad Bod, does there have to be a learning objective? Can't they just be there to read a story to kids?
In the old days,
It doesn't need to come with an agenda. Again, I think if they're not sort of on a, I think if there's no show like the guys who were doing this show earlier in the week that we talked about, if there's no sort of poll and they're sort of doing sexual stuff, I don't necessarily. I think dressing up is kind of probably cool. And H, learning about fetishes. Pivot Kid says drag story time is an excuse for pedos to get closer to kids. Whilst I don't think you can call all drag artists pedos. I think that's going in a different direction. Okay, so that's drag is new front. It is the new front in culture wars. So every paper now is, I think, trying to find everywhere there's a drag show. Coronation oil is being blessed. I just thought this was amazing that this happens. So in Jerusalem, a Christian sort of clerics and priests and what have you are anointing or creating or blessing, consecrating. Thank you very much. The oil that will be used to on his forehead and sort of poured all over him to make him the king. Apparently, they used to make it out of animal stuff, animal oil or blood or something, but they're using olive oil from the Mount of Olives. As we prepare to anoint the king and the queen, I pray that they will be guided and strengthened by the Holy Spirit. I don't know. I'm a fan of old-fashioned shit like that. But Alex Salmond isn't in Scotland. Alex Salmond's really cross about the stone of scone or scone. This is something that kings of Scotland used to be, what do you call it? Coronated? Used to be sort of, they'd have their coronation. Scottish kings would be coronated on this stone. It's being sent down to England for the king to be part of the king's sort of throne. So Mr. Salmond, it's a little bit like the Elgin marbles are saying, no, we're not sending out. When I read this title, I thought an enormous scone was going down, with jam and cream. Jennifer Winter, why does Camilla get blessed? Philip didn't when Elizabeth was coronated. Does anyone know? I think, is it not different when it's a queen consort? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a sort of sexist difference that I don't know. The more traditions we can keep, the better, says Gribbleton. I kind of agree. Another little bit of history at the bottom there. You can see first cowboys were saddling up 1,000 years earlier than thought. I like this. Cowboys come from Europe, not from America. Long before the days of the Wild West, cattle ranchers in Eastern Europe 5,000 years ago, as historians have found. I don't know. I love that kind of stuff. Anyway, from scones to donuts. What's your favourite donut, guys? Laura S., I've just been reading about it. Charles's grandmother, Alice of Greece, is buried where the olives are picked. Oh, I love all that. Jackie Valino's still not happy with Camilla being queen. Steph Schultz, love the whole regal thing, but get bored watching for hours. I know what you mean. Jackie Valino, I love cowboys. I like Spurs. So come on, guys, what's your favourite donut? Jenny Scam, do you remember that? Get off your horse and drink your milk. Plain donuts, Lynn Sheard, jam or ring? Excuse me, says Ellery Jones. Custard donuts. Who said that? Custard donuts. I've lost you. Michelle S. Jammy donut with sugar on, says Nicola Randall. Jam, plain sugar, ringed, says Laura S. I like a ringed donut, but it has to be gooey. Custard donut, Gloria Chesham. A lot of people like custard donuts. Anyway, look, check this out. Dough stopper instead of showstopper. Nads, 170,000 calorie pud, weighs 6 stone and costs £500. Possibly the biggest donut ever made. Look at that. It measures 1.5 meters in diameter.
Why?
Wow, look at that. Check that out. I bet you can't pick it up though. It contains raspberry jam, chocolate filling, vanilla and caramel cream, chocolate icing, raspberries, dairy milk chunks. Oh my God, we do all like donuts in this household, don't we? Yeah, we know about that. Look at that. Donut eat it all. Yeah, Sean Tucker, the donuts you get at fairs with lots of sugars. Yeah, the little ones, yeah. Oh my gosh, says Sean Tucker. It's a biggie, isn't it? 170,000 calories. Makes me feel a bit sick. Let's get it off. Does anyone else feel a bit nauseous this morning? This is a weird one. I'm a parrot with Tourette's. You total fuck. A pub landlord reckons his parrot has Tourette's because it swears at everyone who comes in. He's put a sign up next to it warning customers it has a potty mouth. He says he's got Tourette's, bless him. He swears the most when he wants to be noticed. He says, do you want to know what he says? He says, come on, you fucking knobhead. Fuck. It comes over him in the spur of the moment. He just goes on one. We had bingo the other night, and when Legs 11 came up, he whistled. The bingo caller told him to shut up, and he told him to fuck off. I like this parrot. I like this parrot, but don't all parrots do? Well, no, I suppose they don't swear, do they? So who's a pretty boy now? Who's a pretty boy then? I'm not going to do the next story. It's incredibly middle class. Brioche. We can move past brioche. Legal row-brewing. This is a little cafe in Brixton. I think we should all give a shout out and support them online. There's a little cafe in Brixton, you'll like this, Dina, called Blank Coffee.
Oh, I think I've seen it.
Yeah. They are being sued by an enormous American conglomerate, which is hoping to be as big as Starbucks, because they've got the same name. So Blank Street Coffee. Terrible. Yeah, Blank Street Coffee is saying that this tiny cafe in Brixton is destroying their corporate profile. So these guys here are pushing back against it. So try and find the Blank Coffee shop in Brixton and give them some support. Right. Did I hear strudel being mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
The Daily Mirror have tested retro frozen puddings.
Oh, yeah.
And they tested the Lidl apple strudel.
For $1.59.
Oh, my God, she's bang on. $1.59. Oh, my Christ, how did you do that?
I know.
I've decided what you have to do. You have to go on fucking Mastermind for Lidl.
My
Lidl.
specialist subject.
Your specialist.
She can do specialist subject, Lidl and Aldi.
Look at that, Nad.
Oh, should we do it for long?
Bang on.
Let's do our own master.
Let's do our own Mastermind.
Lidl and Aldi.
That's a good idea. Let's do Mastermind. Okay, the Iceland apple strudel is £2.25, but they give that 5 out of 5, whereas the Lidl strudel only gets 3 out of 5.
The Lidl gets 3 out of 5?
Yeah, it gets less. Any other strudels here? Who remembers the Viennetta? Why am I talking like that? Who remembers the Viennetta?
Yeah. You're going to explode.
How much is that in Asda? Do you know, Dina?
I think, no, in Iceland, is it 99p?
Oh, hang on. Let's have a look. How much is the Iceland apple strudel?
I don't know.
£2.25. Aldi lemon meringue pie.
Oh, I never bought it.
£1.49.
So you can't test them.
So what gets the highest score here? The highest score goes to the Iceland apple strudel, 5 out of 5.
Oh.
And next up is
Stuff I like now.
and the Aldi New York cheesecake at £1.75. I love apple strudel because there's raisins in it.
Did you find those?
Dina knows all the prices in every supermarket. She does, Anna Charolin. But Steph Schultz, mint Viennetta. I hate mint choc chip ice creams. I hate ice cream. Where are your aprons, ladies? Says Ellery Jones. There's a resounding silence. Jenny Scam, apple strudel with ice cream. Mastermind defo, says Cadagirl. Lee could be question master. Good idea. Dina must read a little book every night. Yeah. She goes there every day. Have you taken up a lover there or something? Elaine, oh, right, sorry. I'm getting ready to go to the big weekend in Stone and Barns and Suffolk says. Yeah, finished. Last 2 stories. Okay, final 2 stories. Vanessa Felt says, yes, yes, yes. Faking orgasm is polite, Vanessa Felt says. When your partner's making an effort, it's okay to fake an orgasm. But as Nadia says, my God, you set the benchmark high and you're in trouble. And finally, what's that an image of, guys? Quite an image, isn't it? What do you think that's an image of? 2,000 gang members held in El Salvador. Look at them all. They've all got sort of the same tattoos on. And just to leave you with a cute little face, here's an image of me when I was about 4 years old. There we go. I was quite cute back then. It all went wrong. It all went wrong somewhere. Maria H., we're going to end on this note, Nads, girls. Yeah. There is a small business selling donuts, which is called Lick My Ring. Oh, and Maria H., thank you for that.
Even donuts have to be sexualized now.
I can understand that one. I'm slightly jealous of that one. I wish I'd come up.
Maybe we're just getting old.